as Samsung prepares to announce its mid-range smartphones in the Galaxy A family. Samsung is also working to update its series of rugged smartphones. The Samsung Galaxy XCover 5 was found few days ago in a Geekbench 5 test, showing that it is powered by the Exynos 850 processor and scoring 182 points in single core and 1148 points in multi-core. Now, more information about the smartphone is emerging. We now have the possible specs of the phone that are coming through a leaker. The information comes from leaker Sudhanshu on Twitter, who gave the key specs of the phone, starting with a 5.3-inch HD Plus resolution display, 4GB RAM and 64GB internal storage, a 3000 mAh battery with 15W charging through a USB-C port. For comparison, the XCover Pro arrived with a 4050 mAh battery. Talking about the cameras, it has a 16MP rear and 5MP front camera. It is also mentioned that the Galaxy XCover 5 should arrive with LTE support. Unfortunately, there is no pricing information or release date for the XCover 5, but it is likely to be advertised as a more affordable rugged device in the line, as its specifications are well below the Galaxy XCover Pro. Talking about specs, the Samsung Galaxy A82 has now received certification from and has several details confirmed. Despite not publishing the full technical data sheet, it confirms the presence of the 6.46-inch AMOLED display, 4500 mAh battery, Android 11 out of the box, and the certification image confirmed the design revealed by several renderings. Now let's talk about the Oppo patents. Oppo would be planning a new camera system with a retractable module and prisms to reflect the image. A patent obtained by the Let's Go Digital website. The company would use two sensors in the upper region of the smartphone, but aligned vertically instead of horizontally. When activating the module, both prisms rise and reflect the images to two sensors, one dedicated to serve as a front camera and the other as a rear camera. In this way, the smartphone would not have a visible sensor on the back cover, offering an even cleaner and minimalist body without notches on the screen and without camera modules. However, the problem with the use of prisms or mirrors lies in the fragility of the material, since a fall could easily break the materials and thus prevent the use of the cameras. Another problem would be to limit the size of the sensors. To accommodate two photographic sensors on the smartphone in an upright position, it would be necessary to use smaller or less powerful sensors to maintain a thickness of up to 9mm. Anyway, the system is just a patent that may or may not be developed by Oppo. We have seen dozens of interesting projects being patented, but so far very few have been developed and released to the public. Now let's talk about Xiaomi blocking Google services in China. If you were thinking of importing a Xiaomi phone that was only launched in China, it may be interesting to reconsider, as according to recent information, these devices will no longer be able to run Google apps and services. The change in policies came from the distribution of the latest version of the interface MIUI 12.5. For the Chinese, the change will not affect much, seeing that in China Google services are banned. But this will certainly affect those looking to import a Chinese model like the Mi 10 Ultra, for example. Remembering that for owners of Xiaomi smartphones with global ROM that have Google services pre-installed, nothing changes, at least for now. It is worth mentioning that Xiaomi was recently placed on the list of suspected spies by the United States government, which will possibly imply some sanctions for the brand in the future. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. And if you want to support me on Patreon, the link is given in the description. And I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye bye.